Hello, just another movie night. I want to play a game. You've spent your lives trashing movies. Now it is time to trash yourselves. Live or die. The choice is yours.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just Another Movie Night. I am Joe, and with me is my best friend. He's a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to do as much of the talking as possible. So I'm sorry if you have to hear my annoying voice longer than usual. But
hello, everybody.
He's not feeling so great. So
I'm nasally, but I still went to the movies.
Yes, which probably wasn't the best thing.
I forced myself.
This is before and after reviews, although we didn't do it before. So we're just going to go right into our review. Tonight we saw Saw X.
We saw Saw.
We saw Saw. We saw Saw. And I have to say, the only thing scarier than Shawnee Smith's hair in this is Shawnee Smith's hair in part 2.
This was worse.
It's tragic.
This is like Lori Petty threw up.
When I say tragic, I just think she's such a beautiful person, and I like her with any other hair but part 2 and Saw X. It's just rotten.
Let's get a little bit of before, though.
Okay.
A little bit of before we jump right into the movie.
Okay. So what were your thoughts going in?
Oh, well, yeah, I was going to say I'm a huge Saw fan. That's why I went to the movies.
Yeah, we are.
I sound like John Kramer now.
You want to play a game?
Yeah, I forced myself because I'm a huge Saw fan. If anybody follows us on Instagram or anything, they know that I love Saw. So we ranked, or at least I'm trying to rank the films. We try to, go back and forth and do it. We rewatched all the movies. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep, and so I think we both agree that our favorite of the entire franchise is part 2.
Yeah, I think 2 is the tightest of the bunch.
I think so too.
I really like part 3. I know it's rewatching it again. I could see there's some acting problems and some sketchy things, but overall, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that if we had to rank 1, 2, and 3, I'm gonna say 2, 3, and then 1 for me.
I think that's what we ended up on.
Yeah.
I actually like the one with I think it's 6. There's so many of these movies now. There's 10 movies.
10, but we're not counting Spiral, although the universe is counting Spiral. We choose to forget that Spiral ever happened because it was trash.
Dead last.
Yeah, it's not. Can we just scoot it off the whole chart? Because let's just pretend it's not there.
Yeah, apparently I'm the only one that likes Jigsaw.
I gotta say,
that's my 4th favorite, I think.
I think it was a little convoluted.
Fifth.
It was your 5th, yes. And I feel like it was a little convoluted. There was too much going on. And all I have to say is, this man, John Kramer, literally has nobody in his life that he's ever met, ever, that has not done him harm.
Yeah, I guess that's the big overall oddity.
It's a little bit extra because we're going way back in 5, 6, and Jigsaw, or so we get like more of who wronged him and how bad they wronged him, and
yeah, it's always a thing.
This one goes to another level.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real fast, the reason I like this film series in the first place is because it's such a deep lore that the convoluted lore actually kind of works, and I'm always intrigued to see how they're going to do it next. We've watched film franchises like Freddy Krueger and Jason and all these things, and every movie you're like, that doesn't make any sense to the series. Is it like always a reboot? This is the one series that's like, nope, we're going to make it all attach And if you actually cut it up, you probably could make it all make sense. And that, I love it.
Yes.
I'm really into universe building.
I really appreciate all that too, making it make sense. However, this man's life, I mean, he has literally never met a quality human, ever. Ever.
He does. And this one, he actually meets a quality human. There's a couple throughout the franchise. There's always been like maybe a couple people, but yeah, this is it definitely is a franchise of fuckovers and
Yeah.
betrayals and twists and turns. I wish I had a more of a voice that can talk about this more, but my love of Saw and the hatred of torture porn, which people call this series, which I don't agree with because it's not really torture porn. It's, although we're watching that, there's a story, there's a mystery, there's a twist and turn. You're always on your feet, kind of guessing what's going to happen next. And I love that. Torture porn would suggest that there's nothing but gore for enjoyment.
Right. Well,
There's a lot more here.
You and I can debate that because, towards 5 and 6, I started to feel like these are unwinnable situations. Like,
Well, 5 and 6 in particular don't have Kramer as your main
right.
protagonist. Yeah.
But, and then, going back to Jigsaw, also same. But, this one, without spoiling anything, it definitely kept me entertained. I went in, my expectations going in were, this is part of the Saw franchise, and Tobin Bell is actually involved in this one, not like Spiral. So I'm like, okay, we're on 10 here, so let's just see what they bring to the table. And the trailer kind of threw us for a loop because we were like, okay, how is this going to fit into the timeline? Because we went back and we watched all the movies again.
I had a huge guess, and I was right.
And you had a huge guess, and and so this movie definitely kind of threw me for a loop. It wasn't what I expected going in.
Yeah, I mean, what was it that you were expecting? You asked me that before I.
Well, here's the
rudely
thing. It's always has something to do with who wronged John Kramer. And I figure at this point in this game, there can't be another person left. It's like, how many people do you meet in your life and they're just, every single one of them is just pure rotten.
Yeah.
And they've done something so inexcusable and so unforgivable that you put them in a saw trap. I mean, it's this guy's whole life. I mean, his whole life, anyone he's ever come across in his life, including neighbors, like we saw in Jigsaw and things like that. It's like, okay, come on now.
There's a really interesting aspect to the beginning of this film that kind of made that make sense. He's kind of looking for bad in people.
Yeah. Oh,
and so he's going to find it. When you look for something bad, you find it.
Yes.
No one ever looks for good.
Yes.
And so there was a really interesting aspect of him watching someone do something bad and him thinking about torturing them or putting them in these traps to what he says is rehabilitate them. Mm-hmm. And I think that was cool. And I was like, I could watch that a lot more. Him just looking at people and coming up with scenarios of how to teach them.
Yeah, and I will say, going into this, I was thinking, okay, this is a little far-fetched because of what I saw in the trailer. I was like, oh, they're going to do that. They're going to go there. But this kind of switched things around a little. It was different than the other movies, that's for sure. So I will say that there were a couple of missteps in this.
Yeah.
I would say actually there's a few.
There's some
There was a
problems.
few.
There's no doubt. There's problems.
Yeah, this is not.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect at all, but overall,
Not even close.
No. Was it entertaining? Yes.
I was entertained.
And I was happy to see the two of them together back on the screen together.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to see more of that since we really didn't get it. And it kind of fills in that gap a little bit. Although I would say that things are still questionable.
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to lie, we did leave with questions. So
I don't know if I left with questions, but I will say that there are some dangling threads.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Again, which is
dangling
odd
threads.
because we already had dangling threads from, I would say, 8 and 9. Mm-hmm. And now there's more dangling threads
Yeah.
that kind of go, well, what happened here? What happened there? And I wanted all the ones from 8 to be finalized here, and I didn't get that.
No, not at all. That's one thing. But also, this one was very, I would say that it was an epic scale of treachery on this particular.
Oh, you were actually rooting for Jigsaw to do things to people in this one.
Well, I mean,
let's
considering
face
what
facts.
considering what he's been through, I will say that there's an actress in this movie that really just keeps me so engrossed. I don't know what her name is. I'm gonna look it up, but she's playing the doctor.
Okay.
She's just, I don't know what it is about her. She has that smackable, smirky
That's
face.
yeah.
But she's doing it so well.
She's almost like a cartoon character. That's one of the things. Like, I've always liked that they've humanized people. Like, even when they're villains, they have a human side to them. Are they really like judgeable? What would you do in this scenario? It's always been my favorite thing about the series. This is the first time where the trap people kind of like, okay, this is a cartoon character. This is a cartoon villain. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't this person have a mustache to twirl? That's how it kind of felt here a little bit, and I think that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But it's odd because the movie seems to more humanize Jigsaw and his band of married Jigsaws. What do you call them?
Let's see.
He's got a band. Like, let's face facts. Over the series,
the Jiggies. They're
the
the
Jiggies?
Jiggies. Let's
I
call
love
them
it.
that. I like the Jiggies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I
the
gotta say,
Jiggies all day.
I really just, it's just an epic scale in this one. Like, you take all the other ones and it's like, oh my God, man, this guy's been freaking wronged. And it just keeps getting worse for this guy. I mean, I've never seen anyone have such bad luck.
Yeah. I think the more they do these backstories and these reveals, the more you kind of say, oh, I get it. I get why he's such the way he is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Although I will say in this franchise, they definitely needed to finalize those threads from the other movies. And if they're acting like those movies don't have dangling problems. And I said 8 and 9, but it was 7. 7 is the one with the biggest one on the end.
Yeah.
But 8 and 9 both have like new questionable things. But I wish they would have. I don't know. I think it needs to end. I really like that in the series that they kind of got away from John Kramer and Amanda. And then they went, oh, there's another one. And now it's like a serial killer, a copycat. That's like Hoffman. Mm-hmm. I love that, but I kind of want that arc to end. And then if they had to do whatever happened in Jigsaw, if they wanted to go with that character more, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves Hoffman, including me. I think he's a diabolical motherfucker. He's
one of the most unstoppable badass villains of all time. Like this motherfucker has killed everybody. Like,
it's crazy.
And really odd here, we didn't have many people in the theater, but the ones that we did have all clapped when characters showed up from the past, which is in the trailer. It's not spoilers.
A spoiler.
You kind of already know they're in the cast lineup and everything.
Yeah.
But when those characters showed up or made like a cameo, people cheered. I was kind of shocked by that. I was kind of taken back because over time I've heard nothing but how people don't really like the Hoffman movies. And I would say that
awesome.
They're really interesting. I think we definitely rated like on the lower, definitely 7 is on the bottom.
Yeah. I mean, there's a point in this franchise where Costas Mandylor, he becomes completely invincible.
He becomes a Maniac Cop.
It's like, Maniac Cop. It's 100% Maniac Cop. And I'm just like, okay, all right, now
he even has his own scar.
He does.
Yes. He even has his facial scar.
He has a villain scar now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, all right, this is a bit extra. Just like it was getting a bit extra for me when I was watching Jigsaw, because I'm like, Okay, I want to know, like, what is going on? How does John Kramer have the time to mentor these people?
How does he have the time to build the traps?
He's
Like,
building the traps, he's mentoring these people, he's getting all these elaborate plans. You know, he's got Amanda, he's got Hoffman, and now he's got Dr. Gordon. So, like, you know, he's
and
got.
there's a guy in Jigsaw. They say he's also an apprentice.
I mean, what? I
Remember?
mean,
Yeah, he worked for him
yeah,
too.
I get.
He's one of the first ones he ever did. And that's why this movie needed to bring that character back. They needed to say that he had other people helping him in this one
Yeah.
because I don't know how he built the traps in this movie. Like, I just do not get it. He would have to have hired contractors, you know,
Yes.
and I'm okay with that. I know it's like suspend your disbelief when you're watching these movies because it's really about the trap. What's going to happen? What are these people going to do? What's going to be the twist? I will also say that since these movies really hinge on that twist, this is the rare time where the twist was, I saw it coming. I thought it was very obvious.
Well, there's always going to be a scenario where they, you know, either Shawnee Smith or, you know, Tobin Bell, they win. They win the game. You know what I mean? There's always going to be that scenario where the bad guys don't get away.
Especially since this is a flashback movie. This is a prequel.
Right. And so I was like, okay, there's going to be some twist, you know, little twisty-roo here and
Twisty-roo.
twisty-roo. And, yeah,
I love it. We got Jiggies and Twisty-roos.
Jiggies and twisty-roos and
That's the Saw franchise in a nutshell right there.
Yeah.
Jiggies?
twisty-roos.
Who's the new Jiggy? And the Twisty-roo.
Twisty-roo. No.
Oh, don't make me
Like,
laugh.
they actually leave a lot of this open, and
Well,
so
since it's a prequel, you already know what happens next with the characters.
not all of them. Not all.
Well,
of
I mean,
them.
that's questionable.
You know, we'll have to talk about that later. But overall, I was entertained by this, and there was some gore. There's some pretty good gore. And actually, I'm not gonna lie. This was one of the movies out of all of them that I kind of believed the complete and utter fear and terror that was behind the eyes of these people in the traps. Because, like, there's this one guy that was, like, literally just bawling, and, like, you could feel everything that he was feeling.
Yeah.
I like that. I was like, oh man, you know, I can't stand when they're overacting, like Julie Benz in that one, which one was it?
She's
Four?
weaker, but there's
Four?
that guy there's a couple, in this franchise, some of these people are really believable. That guy with Julie Benz in that movie, the drug, the drug addict.
That's how most
That guy,
people would be.
His
You know?
his look of terror while he's getting cut is so insanely believable. Since we rewatched these, there's one with which I think is the one I actually kind of like. It's with he takes a whole medical staff. They're the health plan people.
The health insurance people.
Yeah, and he puts them on a wheel, like the whole crew of people who judge these files.
They're the ones that find the fault in the little hidden errors
Yeah.
in
And there's one
the
guy
policies.
who ends up getting shot last, and he is so believable. He says, like, "Look at me while you're killing me."
Yeah.
And when he is doing it, he looks like they're generally doing something to him on the set. Like, I don't know. I always wonder, I'm like, is someone pinching them or
Yeah.
slapping them in the nuts right before the shot? Because, good Lord, does it look believable.
Yeah.
I will agree that the guy that you were talking about in this movie is him. And there's another girl who's like a drug on, like, kind of
She's
a drug
drug
problem.
addict, and
she's believable too. Yeah.
But like, I really did believe them. The blonde woman that's the doctor that you see in the trailer, I just really, there's something about her face that smirky, like, evil smugness on her. Like, you just want her to get hers, you know?
It kind of sucks that when you see a trailer for these movies, they already spoil. You already know
Yeah.
what's going to happen and who they are,
Yeah.
which is kind of a shame because I would have loved to be really blind.
But there's a twisty-roo in the trailer that really doesn't happen. That, you know, that
There's an interesting idea in the beginning of this movie, but there's some cool stuff. But yeah, it's kind of obvious, I think, where they're going, and I think it's obvious what happens. But overall, I still enjoy it, and I think it's kind of hard for me to rate these movies because I don't think this movie was particularly great or that good, but I have this weird fondness for the series and watching it. This one definitely did something I wanted it to do, which was blend Saw with Jigsaw, where Jigsaw was filmed in more of a movie look. And the other movies have always been filmed in a more trashy grindhouse tone with
Yeah,
a
like
lot of yellows.
yeah, it reminds you of like Hostel, like Eli Roth movies,
Yeah.
where like you just feel like you have to wash your eyeballs out with bleach.
They washed the movies in this yellow color, and Jigsaw was kind of colored in blues, which was really interesting. And it also kind of toned back some of the insanity that like the fast motion freaks outs and stuff like that, and the use of the music and spinning around the characters, which was a little too overused in the series.
Yeah, they did that a
Jigsaw-
lot with Shawnee Smith when she was in the trap. It was
Yeah,
like it makes you
Jigsaw.
dizzy.
Jigsaw got away from that big time, and I kind of liked it. I kind of liked that subtle, more backed up mystery. And I think this movie kind of did that. They filmed it completely different. They used a lot of different color techniques and stuff like that. I will say though, sometimes it's a little jarring how odd this feels as a part of the series in the directing tone. The last shot before the credits roll is kind of hilarious. I don't. It's a little off, but yeah, I have a hard time rating a movie like this because I just kind of fond to it. Like I just have a fondness for the series. I there's a part of me that kind of thinks like, oh, this is probably like a 5, but I think I enjoyed it enough to say 6. And I think it's just because I liked it. I like them. I like seeing the characters. I like the references. I like the idea, the concept.
Yeah,
It's
same.
always so creative.
It is very creative. The whole idea of this and like all the traps and everything is kind of brilliantly done. It is convoluted in my eyes. I mean, there's a lot of flashbacks and flash forwards and stuff like that in the series. And sometimes I kind of just, things get lost in like translation because like they want you to go, oh.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
when you're seeing everything at the end like that, they have to show you everything that happened throughout the movie and where everybody was, and oh, that makes sense now. So I just feel like they do that way too much.
Yeah,
And it
I
gets a bit
agree.
much. It just gets a bit much, and that's why I wasn't really a huge fan of Jigsaw. It was just a bit extra for me, but this one I was entertained. I I had a great time looking at this movie. I thought that everybody did a great job except Shawnee Smith's unfortunate hairdo.
I
But
don't even know what they were going for with that.
I don't understand. Like I don't know.
It doesn't look real at all.
It looks terrible.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like a helmet.
she looks like Mo.
It's
From the
weird.
Three Stooges. Like
I'll
she's
go
got
with
like
that.
a toupee and it's just got a
It's like a.
it's like eking off to the side.
It's like the character from Fern Gully. The main character, the fairy, but her hair got like wet and pushed down because it actually
Yeah.
has like these weird pointy things on the hair near her ears.
Yeah, it's very
It's
like
very strange.
you know what reminds me like 90s like the 90s goth girls where they had those sideburns
Oh,
that they
yeah.
used to
Oh,
cut those sideburns.
you
It
just
was
reminded me.
fucking terrible.
Angelina Jolie and Hackers.
Yes. Oh my God. Angelina Jolie
That's
and
what it
Hackers.
is.
Yes.
It's terrible.
And I swear to God, Shawnee Smith is way too cute for that unfortunate hairdo. I don't know what they were doing with that hairdo. That's
Yeah.
terrible. It was, I don't know which one was worse, literally. I mean,
This was the worst.
The strung out, like, Karen on acid hairdo from part 2, or this little,
I like what she looked like in part
little
2.
boy
Not gonna lie.
haircut, like a little bowl, Three Stooges Mo thing that they had going on for her.
I like it so much better in part 3 when she has long hair.
I know, right?
Like, why would they
Yeah,
backtrack?
she looked so
Anyway,
pretty.
We're,
But yeah,
we're,
I don't know. We're
we're
going
rating
off
her
it.
hair. It's a 3
It's
out of 10.
unfortunate. The freaking hair is a 1
hair
out
is-
of 10.
I love it. All right, so you're giving it what overall?
I'm gonna say 6 also.
Yeah, right. Because it's kind of hard. But here's the question: where would this rank? Now that there's 10 films, where do you think you would rank this in the 10 films?
Jesus. Okay, well, it's definitely not way up there. So I mean,
there's your list right there. If
okay,
you
let
wanna-
me see the list. All right, so I said Saw 2. So I guess 9, the bottom is Spiral. This is better than that. And I also think this is better than Jigsaw.
I disagree.
I'm going to put it between number 7 and Jigsaw. That's what I'm going to say.
You're gonna put it between those two. Okay, so
Yes.
it's like what was that, number 8?
So it'll be 8. Jigsaw would be 9.
So this is number 8.
Yes,
Okay.
this is number 8.
All right, yeah, I was gonna go a little higher. I was gonna stick. You know what? That's a good number. Yeah, I like Jigsaw. Spiral's the worst, and I actually think 7 might be the second worst. It's just too much. It just does. It tries so hard to be like everything.
Yeah.
Is that the one that's also 3D, like forced in?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the Donnie Wahlberg, right?
No.
Oh no, that's
Donnie Wahlberg's way dead.
Gordon, right?
Yeah, he
throws
shows
the.
up.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm going for. I think 8's pretty good. Yeah, and you know what? Maybe 7 for me. Like this is the 7th
The
in
7.
rank. Yeah, this will
Okay.
be probably between 4 and 5.
Okay. So I said 8. You say 7.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, I don't know. I would have to watch this again. You know what? No, screw it. I think you're right. It's at the bottom. It's at in the last 3 because I'm thinking about this one. The other ones have so much unique, weird, crazy shit going for it, and then this one seems a little more tame in the retrospect.
You know, I think they went for that simply because Tobin Bell, he's not a young man. He's 81,
Wow,
and
I know. What is he doing to himself to look like this in this movie? Like he looks like so sick. He looks so
he's
skinny.
old. He's elderly. He is
Yeah.
81 years old, and I don't think he's going to be doing these, much longer. If they do continue this, it's going to be a Hoffman thing. So
yeah, I mean, I that's why I wanted Jigsaw to be more of a thing, but
I mean, I
Yeah,
just feel
well-
like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how much longer he can continue on with this, but yeah, I definitely think it's better than Jigsaw. It's definitely better than Spiral.
Spiral is just so bad.
I mean,
don't know
I
what they were
can't
thinking
count
with
it
that
as
film.
part of the series. They don't even mention Jigsaw in
They
this.
mention him, but that's it. They say John Kramer died a long time ago, but they don't mention anything that happens after it.
And then Chris
Chris Rock is
Chris
so
Rock
bad
is
in
so
it.
bad. His unfortunate acting, and
It's that cliche cop
he just
movie.
wasn't right
It's-
for that role.
It's like the most cliche cop film I've ever seen in my life. It's like they're like, give me a book on every cliche and stick it in one movie.
I know, it makes me sad because I do like Chris Rock. I just think that he was not right for that part at all. But either way, I mean, this movie is entertaining enough, and
Yeah.
it's part of a series that we love. So go see it.
I check it out regardless.
Yeah, now you're not going to be able to unsee Shawnee Smith's unfortunate hairdo.
I saw it.
Sorry about that. You close your eyes and you're going to see it. It's going to fly off her head and smack you in the face.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Good night, everybody.